Please listen carefully.
Hello, universe. Welcome to the Optimist Daily Update. I'm Summers McKay.
And I'm Kristy Jansen, and we're part of the team behind the Optimist Daily, making solutions the news. We bring you reader-funded solutions news every day in order to change the tenor of news media, social media, and the direction of your day to one focused on solutions.
7 days a week, we publish positive news stories written by award-winning journalists and delivered online to your inbox and through our social channels. And also, we are sharing these solutions in a commute-worthy, walk-worthy, home office-worthy, TGIF-worthy podcast. Today is Friday, the 9th of October, 2020. Good morning, Kristy.
Good morning, Summers. I hope your sunshine is at full blast today.
I am actually good. I am under a fair amount of pressure because the Optimist Daily is launching a new back-end technical system this weekend. We have so many amazing readers and users, and many of them have recognized that our login process is a little bit clunky. And it's been hard because we haven't really wanted to tell everyone that we are launching a new login process until we were pretty much at the finish line. So we're there, and I have a meeting with the tech team in approximately 42 minutes to find out whether or not we are a go for launch this weekend at 3 a.m. on Saturday. So that's where my head's at, and I'm excited, and I'm really excited because the user experience is going to be so much better. And I'm also, I don't know, I just feel like 10,000 things are all in the air, and it's just, it's intense. You have to do a lot of testing and a lot of work, and our tech team is amazing, and our customer support team has been so in it for the last several weeks. I'm really ready to breathe.
Well, good. I wonder if our listeners realize just all of the machinations that go into bringing this website and the emails and the podcast to producing all these things. There's not just writing the content and finding the content.
Yeah.
It's also the infrastructure that has to go into bringing it to people in a positive kind of way.
Yeah, well, and I think that, there are a lot of sites that are real simple blog sites that deliver great content, but at the Optimist Daily, we have 30,000 users who receive the email on a daily basis, and they all have different preferences. That's a huge database of people that we manage. And then in addition, we have our social media footprint and then all of our site visits. And in aggregate, it's over 1 million impressions a month. And that takes a lot of work. And we have this amazing team, but it's also a really lean team of incredibly adept generalists and specialists. You're right. It's more work perhaps than people know, but Kristy and I are so fortunate to lead an amazing team. I'm just really grateful for everyone's work, and I'm also sitting on pins and needles.
Well, hopefully the rollout will go very smoothly, and people will not notice anything other than an improved user experience.
Exactly. Ta-da! It's better.
Yeah.
So I'm not the only one under pressure today. Kristy, why are you under pressure?
Well, as we've talked about here before, and as I'm really excited, I'm going to be moderating a webinar in a couple of hours with Lisa Van Susteren and Stacey Colino, the authors of Emotional Inflammation. And this is going to be a really interesting, in-depth look at what emotional inflammation is, how you can take steps to address your personal style of inflammation, and how do you deal with this in a world that feels like it's ever more inflamed every day, and create positive habits, just sort of, Dr. Van Susteren likes to say, to go from being a bystander to an upstander in your own life. And that is the kind of energy that they are talking about. And it really aligns with what the Optimist Daily is all about too. So I'm very excited to bring these brilliant ladies to our listeners. That's on the webinar, and that'll be at 11 a.m. Pacific time. We'll be sharing the recorded version of the live webinar later on. We have, I think, about 1,200 people who've signed up so far, and it'll be available for free on a website going forward. So
crazy town. I just want to congratulate you, Kristy, and the whole team who has been producing this event. It's going to go really well. You're going to knock it out of the park. You've done an amazing job marketing it. And you are going to be doing this in 1 hour and 38 minutes. So let's get
through this. And so the story that I want to highlight today which I think fits really well with some of the tips that Dr. Van Susteren and Stacy Colino will be talking about later on today. The headline reads, "Lighting systems that mimic natural light can help the elderly sleep better." And this is in the health section on the Optimist Daily. What this is underscoring is the essential healing and curative nature of good sleep. And what happens with a lot of our family members and elderly friends who are living in nursing homes, and I'm sure you've seen this, or at least in movies, the grandpa who falls asleep in random places around the house during the day, just kind of that tendency to fall asleep. And so the problem that can happen is that you get too much sleep during the day and then you have wakefulness in the middle of the night. Those disrupted circadian rhythms don't do well for keeping your mental faculties really solid. Whether you're old or young, getting good sleep is super important. And so that fragmented sleep can also lead to poor health outcomes. It can lead to emotional or mood disorders, depression, anxiety, and also increased frailty. Because sleep is when our bodies heal. It's when our minds heal. So getting that good, solid, deep sleep is super important, as has been really starting to get into the headlines in the last couple of years, especially.
Well, we, obviously having a new baby in the house, or at this point, she's not that new, but she's still new to me. Sleep patterns and things really can change, but you see that the circadian rhythms of a baby actually will mimic what, as adults, we need to pursue. When it starts to get dark outside and she starts to get a little drowsy and we are able to get her to sleep in a very dark room, it's amazing how much deeper she sleeps than with other noise or other, sort of inputs. And I think we're so accustomed to having multiple devices, even whether it's like the little light on our TV in our bedroom, really getting into a deep, dark room is kind of hard to do. So I think that this is really interesting that they're applying it to nursing home technology and how to care more for, our aging population.
The solution is that they've created these lighting fixtures that actually change color and intensity over the course of the day. It kind of mimics the natural cycles that occur in a normal 24-hour cycle. Instead of just having the static, harsh lights that are either on or off, it actually tunes it so that it brightens the corridors during the day, and then it starts dimming them during the night, and the tone and the color also makes a difference. They're starting to really hone in on this. The researchers that are related to this study have actually now tested their hypothesis, and what they found was that on average, the residents experienced 3.6 nighttime sleep disturbances with static lighting compared to only 1.8 with the tuned lighting. So using these light fixtures that mimic the natural lighting actually can cut sleep disturbances in half for elderly residents of nursing homes. Go read the article and you can find out more there to see if there's things you can even do to your own homes. But I was just talking with a friend of mine the other day, and he's putting special lighting that have both white and green light tones. He was just telling me about this. I haven't done my research yet, but it mimics forest filtered light, like the light that comes through trees. And he's a physicist. He's a graduate student. He's trying to get his PhD written and done. And he needs that kind of lighting to keep his brain focused. And so this is kind of the brain hacking thing. This is one of the smartest people that I know. And I'm like, oh my God, I have to go look into this. So look for this in the Optimist Daily in the coming weeks. I'm going to go see if I can find more information about this kind of tuning lighting and tricking your brain to thinking you're sitting in a natural forest and how that keeps your focus. So
the LED strip lighting is all the rage for the kids these days. Mm-hmm. And I don't know if you've seen it, but it's kind of a long strip of LED lights, and then there's a remote that allows you to change the colors and the inputs. Mm-hmm. And I think that that's really interesting. I previously just thought it made my kids' room look cool, but now I wonder if there's actually some neuro benefits to it.
I think it's certainly interesting. And I mean, so much of the information we get from the outside world does come through our eyeballs, but even just being in a bright environment or not a bright environment. I know they've done a lot of work recently on the negative effect of blue light, that you get from a computer screen or a cell phone screen, and how that can totally mess up your sleep patterns. And I think we wrote an article recently about a kind of red light that you look at for a period of time to help with memory. So I think they're just starting to really open up the frontiers of light therapy.
I love it. And I love that it's a simple at-home solution, doesn't require us to think too much, that you can just enjoy it and, turn on the light, a green one or a dark one or a light one. Anyway.
Yes. Well, anyway, let us now pause for a moment of science.
I like it. Okay. My favorite headline today on the Optimist Daily had a typo in it, but we will explain that typo momentarily. The headline reads, "For the first time, 2 women jointly win the Nobel Prize for chemistry." Now, the typo, autocorrect changes the word Nobel to Noble, and somewhere in our system, our writer wrote it properly, input it properly, somehow it got autocorrected to the Nobel Prize, but that's not inappropriate because it is incredibly noble for these 2 winners of the Nobel Prize. So we've shared stories about CRISPR. CRISPR is revolutionizing treatment for diseases like sickle cell and other genetic diseases. What CRISPR is a family of DNA sequences found in the genomes of organisms like bacteria and archaea, blah, 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 tons of science behind it. But basically, it's a way of deriving fragments of the DNA and the bacteriophages that had previously infected another part of the DNA sequence. So this is a very complicated chemistry achievement, right? Obviously, because it won the Nobel Prize. And the 2 women who won it, pioneering French scientist Emmanuelle Charpentier and American scientist Jennifer A. Doudna, developed this genetic scissors editing technique in 2012. It has been used in a widespread variety of research around the world to treat hereditary diseases, and it is incredibly revolutionary. Not only is the technology revolutionary, but the fact that this is the first time 2 women have shared a Nobel Prize. In the book that Doudna writes about this achievement, A Crack in Creation, Gene Editing, and the Unthinkable Power to Control Evolution, she notes that sure, we've genetically engineered pigs that can serve as human organ donors, but we could also have woolly mammoths, winged lizards, and unicorns. And so while we talk about our robots and our drones and our super fungus, I also like the future where there are unicorns and winged lizards who hopefully are not also dragons.
Well, I think that's what a dragon is. It is a winged lizard, but maybe it won't be so enormous.
Perhaps it won't be a fire-breathing winged lizard.
Summers, why can't we have a winged unicorn?
Well, I think unicorns are winged, aren't they? No, those are Pegasus. Pegasus are winged. I will have to consult the 17 books I have here about unicorns. Remember, Brennan is super into unicorns and mermaids. Octopus, unicorns, mermaids, those are the magical creatures that are in my life. There are so many other great headlines on the Optimist Daily today. Kristy, what else do we have?
Well, honestly, to me, it was hard to choose the story that I wanted to highlight because there are some tremendous headlines. I'll just quickly read through them. The lead story reads, "This study gave homeless people $5,660 each, and the results are beautiful." There's a thought leader article about Jay Inslee and the power of optimistic climate action that fits really well with the Optimist Daily brand. Yep. There's 3 tips to make your work from home environment more productive. We can all use that.
I'm also available for consulting on how to create the perfect background for webinar hosting. If you guys want to see, we create the perfect background for Kristy's webinar hosting today.
Yeah. Graphene circuits are the newest supplier of limitless clean energy. This is still in the testing and research phase, but if there's practical applications for this, it's very exciting because graphene is pretty abundant and it's very inexpensive and non-toxic. It's what's in our pencils. Get lost in these incredible X-ray images of the universe. This is a sort of an image story, so you got to go look at it on the website. There's a startup that's making diamonds out of CO2 captured from the atmosphere. That's a new use for carbon, putting it into gorgeous stones. And this is with Climeworks, which we've written a lot about. And I think we've done another jewelry look at that as well. And then Wisdom Supply Company is making back-to-school waste-free. You can get planners and folders that are made out of recycled materials. That's a wasteless school, back to school. We like that.
I love their marketing. Their marketing and their packaging has, taglines like other planners are trash, other folders are worthless, other pencil cases are junk. And I just think it's great because they're achieving with humor and education a lower waste process for education.
And finally, for all of those archaeologists out there and Egyptologists and people who are fascinated by mummies, like I was when I was a little girl, our final story is archaeologists in Egypt unveil 59 coffins that date back millennia.
Well, we can go back in time or ahead into the future to winged unicorns. But either way, everybody, thank you for really being here with us this week. We are achieving crazy milestones and listens. I just can't believe how many people are looking for doses of optimism and enjoy hearing Kristy and I banter about. Thank you all for listening. We promise to continue to share positive solution-based stories with ideas on how you can participate in this changing world and ensure it is changed for the good. We promise to cover the current events with accuracy, legitimate sources, and offer you the information needed most to chart new paths for all of us.
And please consider becoming an emissary on the optimistdaily.com. And for just $5 a month, you can support reader-funded independent journalism and be a part of the solution-changing consciousness that addresses our world's biggest challenges with a problem-solving mindset. Let's keep the Optimist Daily free for everyone who needs it, which is frankly all of us, supported by those of us who can. Thank you so much for listening. Have a great weekend, and we will be back with you on Monday. And check out the Emotional Inflammation webinar. If you're an emissary, we'll send you an email about it soon.
All right, that and more. Everybody have a great weekend. We will see you on Monday. So I wouldn't mind seeing a Pegasus unicorn narwhal octopus. I don't know if I would want to see a winged octopus. That's terrifying.